Welcome back to Hannity. In the wake of Republicans standing up for the American people and trying to defund Obamacare, Democrats are taking a page out of their worn-out playbook, and instead of coming up with concise arguments, they've resorted to name-calling. The latest disgusting example comes to us courtesy of White House senior advisor Dan Pfeiffer. He likened Republicans to suicide bombers.
We are for cutting spending. We're for reforming our tax code. We're for reforming our entitlements. What we're not for is negotiating with people who have a bomb strapped to their chest.
Joining me now with reaction are, from the Tea Party News Network, Scotty Hughes, and Democratic pollster, Fox News contributor Doug Schoen. Great to see
both of you. Good to see you.
Welcome. So, Scotty, let me start with you. Your reaction to being called a terrorist and an arsonist because you're a Tea Party member.
Well, to quote my favorite politician probably of all time, Margaret Thatcher, who said she always enjoyed when people attacked her personally. It meant that they had no real political argument left.
And it meant that we're winning.
Exactly, and we are winning. And they're sitting there calling us those names, and that's what the whole administration has been. That's the name calling. That's the childish games they play. And I think the American people are finally starting to wake up and say, no, quit the name calling and actually give us some real answers.
Doug, even you have to admit that if Republicans were caught saying this about Democrats, holy hell would be breaking loose.
I would say that, but I do want to clarify one thing Scotty said. The Democrats won today. 25 Republicans in the Senate voted to allow the bill without with funding of Obamacare to go back to the House.
Yes, to
19
their
voted
eternal
against
shame, by the way.
Well, but that means the Democrats won. And the Democrats are playing a rhetorical game that's working, which is to demonize a Republican Party that bluntly demonizes itself.
But is that acceptable, Doug? I mean, this kind of language from a top White House official calling people on the other side who happen to have legitimate policy disagreements terrorists and arsonists?
Look, I don't think it is acceptable. I've been for a long time for a negotiated resolution of the differences. But when John McCain and Ted Cruz go at it, and Ted Cruz and Bob Corker go at it, you know, the Republicans have enough problems in their own house. They ought to get those in order.
Talk about the split in the Republican Party. You're a member of the Tea Party, staunch conservative, want limited government, fiscal responsibility, economic freedom, Scotty, as I do. And now you've got establishment Republicans going after folks who represent those things, like Ted Cruz and like Mike Lee.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where I'm going to correct Doug.
Please.
The Democrats won, but so did the establishment Republicans won.
Right.
And that's
I agree with that.
And but that's the problem. The American people lost. That's the most important part. We lost. And when you're sitting here looking at 52 years of Washington, D.C., which is a combination of how long McCain's been in office and Harry Reid, who came in the exact same year, we realize that those are actually more two of a kind than people who have just been in a year, like a Ted Cruz and Mike Lee, who's been just been there a few days. That's who the American people are bonding with, and as long as we can start clearly defining those lines, the people will remember that when they go to the voter box.
Doug, you are correct that the Democrats have won the battle, but they may have not won the bigger war. Talk to us a little bit about what do you think happens from here in terms of this political ball goes back to the House, and what do you think, what is the, because all of these things are being conflated, the debt ceiling, the CR, funding Obamacare and so on, is all sort of part of a piece.
Let me offer a personal view first, then I'll address your question. Look, the American people, and Scotty's right about this, they do lose if there is not conciliation. The issue is not to fight a fight that could jeopardize our economy, that could jeopardize the budget, our ability to have the full faith and credit of the United States honored. That's bad for all of us, because you know what, Monica? We're all Americans, whatever our party. Bottom line, I think the Democrats will hold firm, as President Obama said. I think the Republicans, from what I can see, will hold firm. I think we're going to get a government shutdown. I think it'll end quickly because I think the Republicans will cave. And then we'll be on to the debt ceiling, and I think that will be another fight.
Scotty, you know what's so interesting about what happened today? And I agree with you. I think this was a loss for the American people. When you look at the poll numbers, Barack Obama, according to Gallup, is down to 43% job approval. The people are not down with Barack Obama right now. You look at other poll numbers, and you see 60% of the American people want Obamacare repealed, either in its entirety or in part. You've got 61%, according to a new Bloomberg poll, that says the American people don't want the debt ceiling raised without accompanying spending cuts. So the American people are with the Tea Party crowd. They're with Ted Cruz. They're with Mike Lee. And still, we had this result today.
But I think this is where you're right, Monica. We might have lost this battle, but we're going to win the war. I think the Republicans, if they're smart, are going to switch this conversation. We will shut down the government, and then we're going to look at the Democrats and say, you know what? You're going to be the responsible for not opening it up.
You think we're going to see a shutdown?
I think we're going to possibly see a shutdown.
Do you agree with that? You agree?
But this is good.
Yes. But let me make one other point. There is substantial support, Monica, for the Republican position. The problem is the Republicans keep seizing defeat from the jaws of victory with their intransigence, unwillingness to negotiate.
Doug, I could say that you're engaging in projection right now. You're projecting onto the Republicans everything that Obama and the Democrats are guilty of. Refusal to negotiate, refusal to move on any issue. Obama came out today and said, I'm not negotiating.
I'm willing to say there's a plague on both houses, but the Republican poll ratings are even lower, Monica, than Obama's. Obama's are sinking, the Republicans sinking more rapidly.
I think we're going to switch this conversation. We're going to say, you know what, we were the ones willing to talk. It's the Democrats who shut down the government. It's the Democrats who won't open it up because they want to hold on to their precious little Obamacare that the American people does not
Scotty,
want.
it's the only way the Democrats can
look
hold the Senate
Democrats
and win back the House is following your strategy.
But that is true. But the challenge for Republicans is messaging, and I have no faith in them on that. And they've got to punch through a corrupt media to get that message across. And I have no confidence in that either. Scotty, Doug, great to see you guys. Thank you so much.